Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Virginia's SBDC's Google to Great webinar series. This webinar series is designed to give you an overview of how to actually see the powerful tools that Google has created and some practical tips from a small business perspective. Each webinar focuses on one Google product. If you've missed our first few sessions, you can find recorded versions of the webinars on our website, virginiasbdc.org, under online training. All of our Google to Great webinars are presented by Ray Sidney Smith, a self-proclaimed Googleologist and president of W3 Consulting, a digital business strategy firm that provides training on how to use various web-based technologies to small businesses. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type those into the question window and Ray will do his best to answer them. Without further ado, here's Ray Sidney Smith.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks to Tracy and the Virginia SBDC Network for having me do these Google to Great webinars. Today we'll be talking about who needs an IT department when you've got Google, and really what we'll be talking about is Google Apps for Business. What we'll do is we'll talk about Google Apps for Business from an overview perspective, and then I'll go through and show you as much as I can about how to set up and actually where the parts are for setup once you do decide to start using Google Apps for Business for your own small business. So first and foremost, if you have Twitter and you'd like to go ahead and ask questions subsequent to this webinar, you get stuck, you want a little bit of help and whatnot, feel free to go ahead and send those at W3 Consulting and hashtag them Google to Great. So most people know this logo if you know anything about Google Apps for Business, and they are the 6 products that Google originally launched for the Google Apps product. So what is Google Apps out the gate? Google Apps is basically the ability to use the various Google products for your business using your own domain. So instead of sending an email, your business name at gmail.com, you'll actually be sending your name at yourcompany.com. And you'll be using all of those tools that Google has created over time. So what you have displayed in front of you are 6 logos. At the very top of that is Google Sites. Right directly to the left of that is Gmail, the Google solution for email. To the right of that is the old logo for Google Docs, which includes the 5 products: Google Documents, Spreadsheets, Presentations, Forms, and Drawing. Basically what would be in the suite known as Microsoft Office, but this is the Google version and it's free. Then on the bottom left-hand corner you have Google Calendar. Directly at the very bottom of that circle you have Google Talk, which is built into Gmail, and then to the right of that is Google Video for Business, which has been somewhat been put aside, but it's still there. It's still a product in the system. It's just not given as much highlight and importance. So Google has, of course, realigned Google Apps for Business, and these are now their primary 6 products. And I'll be going over each of these products just quickly so you have an idea of what we'll be talking about as we're going through each of the various areas. The primary product, of course, that Google Apps for Business handles for most small businesses is really email, helping you manage your email. That is, setting up not only your own email and being able to use Gmail's interface as the primary front end, but handling all of the security in the back end and the administration of creating new email accounts as you need to as your business grows. So if you're using Gmail in your personal life and you like the way that Gmail works, if you perhaps have a current email system but you don't have IMAP capability. So once upon a time we used POP. POP3 is the current sort of most legacy version of email software, and what that does is allows you to be able to download software from your email servers. And that's how you get your email. You have an email service with XYZ email host. You get email. It downloads to your program, whether that's Microsoft Outlook or some other program, Mozilla Thunderbird, and you receive your email. Well, what happens is that when you get a mobile phone or you add a second computer or you do something else that it requires you to access that email in some other place, the POP technology is not necessarily sophisticated enough to be able to allow you to get those emails in the same place and for all of the management of that email to look the same. So if you create a folder in POP on your desktop, that folder won't show up on your handheld device, on your mobile device when you're on the road. The IMAP technology that is built into Google's Gmail allows you to be able to have that technology built in, and it's it's just built into the software. Gmail as an open product is free. The one in Google Apps for Business, of course, is built right into the product natively. So you don't even have to worry about whether or not the folder you created and the email you created are in a particular place on one computer and not on the mobile device. They automatically synchronize. Additionally, of course, with Gmail, you have the power of Google's search capabilities. So anytime, anywhere, you should be able to find exactly the email that you need based on the email messages that you need based on what you're looking for. So that's really the core part of Gmail. Then so Gmail is there, and of course they give you lots and lots of storage space. So Gmail starts out with 25. Well, they're now at 10 gigabytes worth of data that you can hold in the Gmail account when you start an account with the normal gmail.com. You just go to Google, you sign up for an account, you see it on your screen, you get 10 gigabytes of data. Well, with Google Apps for Business, you jump immediately up to 25 gigabytes of storage space. So you get 25 gigabytes of storage space, and you can, of course, increase that over time if you need to. So it's really, really helpful to be able to have that additional storage space, and you'll be using a business professional brand, your name at your company name, like I said before. So really, really powerful there. And as you can see, anyone who is part of your company is getting an opportunity to go ahead and have your brand represented whenever you're using the email system. So if you have staff or employees who are using email as well, you can go ahead and see Google goes ahead and lets you put a logo in so that it brands your email interface for your own staff, because of course branding is not only an external activity but an internal activity as well. Next up is Google Calendar, and Google Calendar allows you to be able to publish your schedule. You can keep it completely private. You can have your own private schedule for your family and friends, and then you can expose your business schedule as much as you need to. You can advertise events and do all those types of fun things all through Google Calendar. Google Calendar not only has the desktop version in the web browser, but it also has mobile components, so you can have them put into your mobile phone, into the calendar program, or you can just log into the calendaring application from the web browser right inside of your mobile phone. Now, I really like the smartphone app that Google has created for Google Calendar. It is really intelligent and actually has more functionality than the native applications on any of the smartphone operating systems that I've been using. So whether that's Apple iOS or the Android system, the Google Android system itself, they're not as good as the actual web browser app that Google has created. So I would really check out Google Calendar in the mobile version. So you just go to google.com/calendar in any mobile browser on your phone or on a tablet, and you will see the calendar will show up in the mobile format. And you can not only manage your primary calendar, but you can share and collaborate with other people's calendars all in that space as well. Next up is Google Docs. Google has created basically a Microsoft Outlook alternative. It's sort of Microsoft Office Lite right now, but it will be developing into a more robust system over time. And right now, the most powerful part about Google Docs is the ability to work together with people. Today with Microsoft Office, you have the ability to collaborate with people. You can go ahead and send people a document. You can track changes and those types of things. But talking about real-time collaboration, Google has given you the tools to be able to do the primary work of collaborating on a document and really making that document truly, a collaborative process, as opposed to being, I make a couple changes, I send that to you, you make a couple changes, you send that back to me. Well, what happens when there are 10 people and potentially 20 people working on a document at one time? You have a much better system in using Google Docs for that type of work. And as you can see, you can do text as well as visuals and all of that within the system. And as far as Google Docs is concerned, Documents is a really great program and does pretty much most of the things that Microsoft Office's Word can do. Some people see some of the limitations of spreadsheets, which is the Excel compatible alternative. But the reality is that Google Spreadsheets is also very powerful. And then you have Google Presentations, which is actually the software I'm using this morning to show you this presentation. So it works just as well as PowerPoint, but the best thing about Google Docs presentations is that it's with me everywhere. I can download a PowerPoint file from Google Docs at any time. I can put it in PDF. I can put it on a thumb drive. I can download it from anywhere. I can launch it from any browser. It works really, really powerfully and well. And then, of course, there's Google Drawing, which is just sort of a drawing application so that you can create graphs and charts and those types of things if you were to need one to pair with a spreadsheet or a presentation and those types of things. Of course, Google Forms is for being able to create forms that you can embed on the web. So Google Docs, again, all of this is done under the umbrella of your domain. So instead of someone seeing google.com/docs, now they're seeing, or docs.google.com, and then a string of letters, they're seeing your brand represented as the software is being used. Next is Google's newest product, which is called Google Drive, and they've now put this into Google Apps for Business very recently, obviously, since it's a fairly new product. And what Google Drive does is it allows you to access your information, your data for your business anywhere that you are. They give you 5 gigabytes free with the service, and then they have a particular, I think it's about $4 per user per month after that for 20 gigabytes additionally. So if you want additional storage space, it's very, very nominal fee for you to be able to upgrade to the next level of storage space. But they give you 5 gigabytes of storage initially. You get a software application that you can put on PC, Mac, Chrome OS, iPhone, iPad, and Android devices. The iPhone and iPad ones are coming soon, obviously, but they're coming. And what you do is you store all of your files in one central location, and Google does all the work of being able to make sure that they're backed up and stored and securely held for you. Now, when you want to go ahead and share those documents with people, Google Drive gives you the ability to share those files with anyone that you'd like to. So you can go into your Google Drive account and just select the particular file or collection that you want people to be able to have access to. You share them on it, they get an email, and they immediately can start collaborating. And of course, because it's Google Drive and it's Google, you can go ahead and open up any particular Google document within Google Docs and immediately start the collaborative process. So you're not just talking about, sharing a file just like Microsoft Outlook. You send an email, they get it, and they send it back to you. You have not only the native file held that someone can have access to, but then you can also edit those files live on the web as well. The really powerful part about this is that Google Drive can hold any file. This is a misnomer. People don't think about Google Docs this way as well, but Google Docs can hold any type of file. As long as it fits within your file size limit, your storage limit, you can put anything in there. Now, Google Docs may not be able to read and edit it, but over time, more and more file types will be able to be read and edited. So you can put video, you can put audio files in there, and then control who has access and sharing capabilities with the system. So it's a very, very powerful system to safely, securely, and effectively share and collaborate with documents. So I recommend everybody go out and check out Google Drive and figure out what parts work for you.
Ray,
The next product, yeah.
There's a question on how secure are the documents that you upload to Google Docs?
Google uses the most secure web technology out there on the web today. So I can only say that it's very secure. They use the latest encryption technology. So they use SSL for apps users, and they encrypt all of the browser sessions. This, of course, helps protect your data as it travels between your browser and Google's data centers. They have 99.9% uptime, as most web hosts do that have proper redundancy. And of course, the Google team is always working to make sure that your data is secure. So they're paying attention to what's going on. They regularly audit. What they do are they have these auditing systems, and they also use the federal government FISMA certification, which is a certification that looks at the security requirements for all federal government information systems. So they're using all of the highest level standards to make sure that your data is safe. Okay. So Google Apps Vault, which you see on your screen, is actually an optional tool that you can add into the Google Apps for Business world. What this allows you to do is to mitigate business risk. The system naturally goes ahead, and when you have Google Apps Vault installed, you can go ahead and set it up to have various types of policies set up. You can do retention policies, so if you want automatically email and chat messages to be deleted on a regular interval, you can go ahead and do that. So for some people, and for most businesses, you don't need to retain your email or chat messages forever. And it opens up a legal liability. There's a liability there with keeping all of that stuff, potentially. Who knows? You should of course talk to your business counsel for those guidances to your specific business needs. But you can set up retention policies to go ahead and do that. You can email and chat archive using the Google Apps Vault system. So you can have them archived and retained according to the policies that you have set up. So say for instance you set something up to say that you want to keep these chat messages and these email messages for 2 years, and then you want them to be sunset. You want them to go into archive, and then you want them to be deleted. Well, say for instance an employee accidentally emails a whole swath of email from the last year. Well, the email and archiving system within Google Apps Vault will actually protect against that. It will go ahead and look at the policy that's involved, and that's reigning over that particular email message or chat message window, and it will go ahead and keep those archives from being inadvertently deleted so that you have them. And then of course, no business can ignore the fact that litigation and other types of legal issues do arise, and for e-discovery purposes, the Google Apps Vault allows you to be able to be prepared for litigation and compliance audits using the search tools built into it. You can export the data in standard formats for those purposes. You can place legal holds on users so that email and chat messages can't be deleted by users when they're placed on this specific hold. So for information governance, retaining business documents, all sorts of security and those types of things, if your business is designed around that, you can go ahead and use Google Apps for Vault. Again, as the screen notes, it's $5 per user per month to be able to have that optional tool added. The next product in the Google Apps for Business suite is Google Sites, one of my favorite tools. Google Apps for Sites is the ability to create a website without any knowledge about the web, knowing that you need a website to run your business, and this allows you to be able to collect all of your information that you need in terms of your web presence in one space, and it allows you to be able to control who can see it. So you can have parts of your website that are exposed to the public and parts that are private that only you, some of your clients, and your staff can go ahead and access. You can have this public, semi-private, and completely private areas of your website where you can go ahead and host this information and go ahead and put yourself in a place where Google will know how to index you, because Google is the product. Google is providing you with the product. They know how to index their own websites. So if you're creating a Google site, you're clearly giving yourself an opportunity to put it in a format that Google can go ahead and read well. So you just have to create good content and fresh content on that website and not really worry too much about the technical parts of it. And so there's that particular product. And of course, it's going to be yourcompany.com as the domain that's managing that, and your email address is going to be yourname@yourcompany.com. It's all managed under that one umbrella of the Google Apps for Business world. Then if something doesn't or isn't satisfied by the primary products that Google provides, Google gives you even more apps. So if you go to the Google Apps for Business website, which is google.com/A as in Apple, you'll see all of the main products: Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Docs, Sites, and then the optional Vault. Then if you click on More, you're actually going to go ahead and see this. You'll see the various other applications that are available. You can go ahead and use the YouTube, which is where Google Video for Business now sits. It's using the same technology as YouTube, but it allows you to securely put videos in the background so that you can put trade secrets and other types of private information that you'd like to share with your staff and your employees, say from a human resources perspective, but then you can also put out video to the greater world that is marketing or otherwise information related. So anyway, if there's something in there that you don't have, there's probably something within Google Apps for Businesses apps area that you can add as additional functionality. Now note that these apps are actually not covered by the support for Google Apps for Businesses main products. So the 6 that I noted are covered by support, but these are not. These are additional tools that you can add in, but of course if there's a problem with them, you need to go, you need to jump out and go to blogger.com if you're having a Blogger issue and deal with the blogger.com support people, which is an open community of people and some Google employees, but you're not going to get the full support of the Google Apps for Business folks. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump over to Google Apps for Business. So I'm just going to go to google.com/A, and that's going to go take us over to the main screen. Now, if I had a Google Apps for Business account already, I would go ahead and click on Sign In, and it would give me the ability to type in my URL, and it would take me to the various area that I wanted to go to. Here it says email, calendar, docs, video, sites, and domain management. But since I'm showing you how to create this, I'm going to go ahead and click on Start Free Trial. And when I click on Start Free Trial, I don't have to give a credit card. I don't have to give any other information. All I need to do is just fill in some basic information in order to start that particular Google Apps for Business domain management setup. So I'm going to type in my name. I'm going to type in my email address. I'm going to type in my company name, and I'm going to list how many employees I have, and then I'm going to list the country or region I'm in, and I'm going to place in a phone number. So that's just about me. So I just filled in the basic form. It just wants to know some basic information about me. So name, email address, business and organization name, number of employees, country and region, and telephone number. I click on Next, and now it's going to ask me whether or not I want to use a domain I already have, or whether I want to buy a new domain through the setup. Okay? So I'm going to use a domain that I already have purchased, and I'm going to type in that particular domain. Now note, I'm not going to be able to do everything this morning with you because I already have this domain being utilized, but we can show you as much around the domain management system as possible. Oh, it's already saying that I already have a one used here. Let's go and use this one. Here we go. So I went and typed in my business domain name, or well, you're going to type in your business domain name, and we're just going to type in a username for my primary account. Now remember, this username that you're creating, in this case mine is Ray at w3andbeyond.com, is going to be your primary username to log into the system as an administrator going forward. So you probably want to make sure that that's a fairly uncommon. Don't make it admin at W3 and beyond. That's a potential security risk. So go ahead and make that something that's your first initial, last name, whatever it might be, but make sure that it's not just admin or not just password or something like that. Make sure that the usernames and passwords are not admin and or password. And not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think a lot of people go ahead and put those simple passwords in because you're worried about forgetting them. But it's far easier for you to go ahead and remember a password than to have to go ahead and recover data loss or deal with a hacking issue. You can take the effort to remember a password than to have to deal with the ramifications to your business, business loss, because you can't get back data, or that someone's hacked into your system and put something inappropriate into the system that you didn't want there. So make sure that you go ahead and put in good passwords. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a password that I note in the system is going to be strong. And just to do this again for you, you notice that the password strength, Google tells you, should be at least 8 characters, and it tells you the strength of the password. Now note that when I start out with the password being 4 characters, it tells me that the password is too short. So I go to 4 characters, I go to 8 characters, it tells me that it's a strong password, and I've made it actually a full 10 characters using numbers and a special character, $, exclamation point, period, something like that, that will allow it to not be just a typical all alphabetic password. So I recommend that you do that as well. Use the number sign, use the dollar sign as an S, for instance, in the password if it's going to be a word that you know, and use the number 1 as an L or an I to represent those things. So take your favorite animal, and basically represent the word in number, variety and something like that. Okay, so we're moving along. We type in the oh-so-fun CAPTCHA. I know everyone has issues with this, and so do I, but it can also refresh the CAPTCHA. If it doesn't come out right, you can go ahead and have it read to you, and you can do that as well. So you've set up your username and your password, you've typed in your CAPTCHA, and now it gives you all of the terms and services. You can go ahead and print the terms and services, and you can allow Google to go ahead and send you updates and tips that help you get the most out of your Google Apps account by checking this little box here or not checking it. So you accepted sign up, and now Google Apps is going to take us into the main management area so that you can go ahead and set up email and domain and so on and so forth. So are there any questions, Tracy, while it's doing that, taking us to the control panel?
Yeah, actually you do. You've got quite a few. Can
okay,
you
go for it.
go over the 6 apps that are part of Google Apps?
Sure. They're right here. They are Gmail, Google Calendar. Oh, what happened to my presentation? Doesn't matter. So there's Gmail, which is Google's email. There's Google Calendar, Google Drive, which is the technology that allows you to install software on your desktop, and then that software on your desktop allows you to be able to share and collaborate documents. The collaboration happens within Google Docs. The files happen, of course, in a folder that sits on your computer and is, of course, backed up to Google's system. Then there's Google Sites, Google Docs, and Vault. So those are the 6 primary products.
There was a question about sites. If you do a search and you use one of Google's templates, does that give you a priority in Google search?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. For Vault, can you change the length of time the length of time for emails be changed, or is it predetermined?
You set the policy.
Okay. Does Google reserve the right to use information in my domain in Google Apps for its marketing?
No.
Are Google Apps compatible with MS Software, Excel, PowerPoint, etc.?
They are compatible with most of them, yes. So they don't support things prior to a certain version, I believe 95, Windows Office 95 documents, and prior to that, again, if they're in RTF format, which is the rich text format, then they will be ported over. Anything in a .xls will be ported forward and will be interpreted by Google Docs. Again, if it cannot interpret it and convert the file, it will just hold it there, and you can download it and use it on your computer appropriately. So, for instance, if you have it in Google Drive, it will go ahead and just have the file sit there, but Google won't read it. But Google will attempt to go ahead and import and make it a Google document if it can. So most Microsoft Office files, yes, but really old ones, no. And DocX, or XLSX and those types of files will be translated over. The templates, though, if you have templates, they do not translate over. So you have to turn a document that is a template into just a normal file and then upload it into the system.
And then the last question are Google Apps for mobile technologies such as the iPad and iPhone use?
One more time for me. Is the question that are the Google Apps for Business tools available on those mobile devices?
That's my understanding of it, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So as I noted earlier, the Google Apps for Business, they have all of those apps. So Gmail, there's an app on Android as well as on the Apple iOS platform. When you download those applications, you log in using in this case, I've created a username, Ray at w3andbeyond.com. I would log in using that username, and it would automatically tell me, that I'm now logging in through my business apps account. So you would go ahead and know that you were logging in through that system, and you'd be able to use that app as though you were in your own business. So you get the opportunity to do that. So all of the apps will be able to be used with Google Apps for Business, is my understanding. And then, of course, you can log into the mobile apps through a web browser to access any of that data as well. So you have all of the mobile components available to you, including the SMS functionality that Google Voice has, as well as Google Calendar, where you can get SMS notifications of events and new calendar events and those types of things. Okay. All right. So we're going to move along. Google Apps for Business has now set up my account, and notice it tells me that I can access my account at this particular secure URL. And notice that it's an HTTPS, which means it's a secure site, and it's www.google.com/A for apps / and then my domain name / So in this case, it's w3andbeyond.com / So if I go to this link at any time, you want to save this so that you have it, it will take me to this page in the control panel. So it's going to ask me to go ahead and log in. And now it's launched all of the various items. So note that it's going to not allow me to activate any of the Google apps until I've verified my own domain. But I can go in and do all of the setup stuff while I go ahead and verify my domain. In order to verify your domain, you will need to talk to your web host, your domain registrar, and make sure that you have that stuff set up correctly. If you already have a website and you're in the process of moving that stuff over to Google Sites, make sure that you pay attention to what information is published and what's going to go, if you're going to have any downtime, making sure that you, predicate that from other times. So make sure that you're paying attention to all of those issues as you move along. But you go ahead and activate the Google Apps engine once you have your domain, once you have your domain verified. But you want to make sure that any other way that you're using your website, which is your current email, your current website, or anything else like that, has a way to transfer over or is being transferred over before it goes silent. So across the top of the system, you see that there's Google Apps dashboard, which is this primary screen, and it's sort of like the jump screen, the summary screen of where all the various items are. You can manage contacts and video, sites, Drive and Docs, email, calendar, chat, and mobile, all right from here. And so to answer the person's question earlier, here you can see this is where all of the various apps options are, and you can go ahead and manage what happens within the mobile settings. But the dashboard is pretty much your jump screen. You get here, it'll give you any notices in these little orange or yellow boxes that will tell you if there's something wrong with the system. You need to go ahead and do this, and it will also take you through the process of setting up if you follow this continue with the setup guide. Okay, and you can add more services by clicking next to service settings and clicking add more services, and you can go ahead and do that from there. So we're going to click on the next tab over, which is organizations and users. And here you can go ahead and create new users. So if you have staff or other areas of your business, you can go ahead and do this. The really cool thing is they allow you to add sub-organizations. So if you click on a sub-organization, you can create a new department. Say you have 5 departments in the company. I can put marketing department here, and I can go ahead and add. And now it has a sub-branch of this, or it has a branch of this new tree. And you can see that my main branch is w3andbeyond.com. Underneath that's marketing. And now I can add, my director of sales to that particular branch, okay? And so I just add his name, and I can go ahead and create that person. And now what will happen is he's going to get an email that, they give you email and print instructions, and you can go ahead and open up those instructions and send that to that particular person so that they can go ahead and log in and do that. So they see they issued a temporary password for him and everything, and he'll get that email through the system, and you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to delete this because I don't need that, and I can delete everything. As you can see, you can delete everything you need for that particular user, and note that it's telling me once you've deleted it, it's all gone. We are deleting everything, so there's no backup here when you delete users. All right, so that's the idea of creating users. So you can ask me questions once we get to the end. So if you have any questions specifically about users, we can go ahead and do that, but I want to get through this pretty quickly. So then there are groups. If you have any groups of people, you can go ahead and create and delete groups here. So if you have a particular email, group of people that you email regularly, you can create groups of email. Note that this won't let me create a group until I verified the domain, but normally you would have an option here to create a group, and then you can go ahead and create various groups of people, and that way you can send out email to those people when you need them to. So if you have a group of core clients that you regularly communicate with, you can have a group called clients. If you have a group of that you want to send a message to all of your staff, you can go ahead and set that up as well. And then, of course, under domain settings is where you would go ahead and handle all of the various issues that relate to your domain management, okay? So if you have multiple domains or anything like that, you can go ahead and do that. Here we can choose default languages and so forth. I find this funny that the default language that Google has listed here is Bahasa Indonesia, but we're going to go down and we're going to select English in the U.S. All right, and you can go ahead and save that. And you see here we have advertisement options. You can hide all ads for W3 Consulting Inc. So that whenever we're using the system, the staff won't see advertisements throughout the system. It's on by default. But for example, I have one client who actually wants the ads displayed to his customers. To his staff, because some of them have actually been very interesting and useful to the business. It's been a marketing research tool that he's been able to have his staff notice particular items that Google has displayed, and they've been able to make good use of that information by having the ads displayed. So this particular business has decided to display ads because they are relevant to his business. But you can actually have all of those ads turned off throughout the system. It's on by default. So even if you turn them on, you can turn them off again in the future. You can select time zone and all of that fun stuff. Also, this is a really great and useful tool. Under user support, if you go ahead in there, you can actually say, if you have a problem, please call Jack. And, let's see, 703-555-1212. Isn't that the one they use in the movies? So if you have a support problem, you can actually tell users who to contact for support. In this case, if there's an IT person or an IT consultant that you're using, and you're not the one who's managing this on a day-to-day level, day-to-day basis, you can go ahead and have that person's contact information and who to contact there, so that this is publicly available and accessible for users. Okay, so that's good to note there. So the next tab over from General, you go on over to, that's okay, we can save this. So this is also where you would change the organization name, and also where you would change your primary administrator account. And notice that it pulls in my secondary email address as my company my real company domain name, because it knew it was me. But we're going to go over to subscriptions and billing. You can see here that I'm currently using the trial that gives me 30 days free. It tells you when the trial subscription ends, and then of course I can go ahead and cancel Google Apps for Business. I can upgrade the number of users, do all of that subscription and billing stuff from domain settings, then going down to the subscriptions and billing tab. Okay? Under domain names, I can go ahead and add domain names. I can delete domain names. So for instance, if I wanted to add a domain name here, I can go ahead and add another domain name for my company and make that also available within the Google Apps for Business engine. So if you have multiple domain names where you have multiple users who have multiple domain names, you can go ahead and have that happen all underneath this particular administrative control panel. Again, take down your questions or send them to Tracy, and I just want to get through this, and then I can answer any questions when we get to the end, because I know I want to get through this. All right, so you can go ahead and do what's called provisioning of APIs. I won't get into this now, but you can go ahead and have the APIs provisioned, which allows you to go ahead and synchronize your user base across your own management system. So you can do that. You can have the sign-in page have a single sign-on, so that allows, if you're transferring between different Google applications, you don't have to log into each of them. But for some businesses, for security reasons, they don't want you to have single sign-on. So you have that choice. You can go ahead and choose to have people sign in one application, so they sign into Google Gmail, and they'll be logged into Calendar, Drive, Docs, Sites, and what have you, all by virtue of signing into that one product. So it can be very, very useful for people, not having to log into a bunch of places. But of course, that just depends on where people are logging in from. So if you have a lot of people on the road, it might be cumbersome for them to do that, but you may want them to do it for security reasons in case they lose their mobile phone, what have you. So just pay attention to that. You can, of course, adjust password settings where you can increase the length and the other settings that are associated with them. So you can, instead of 8 length minimum, I can make this a 10 length minimum, and I can minimize this to 15 characters long so that passwords are manageable. Okay, so people, you have the option of doing that. You can see that I can go ahead in and actually monitor the strength of my users' passwords. This is really important for the person who consistently keeps complaining about the passwords being non-memorable, and so he or she goes ahead and puts in something very simple just to get to the password length minimum, but the password strength is really not very good. You can see here in the system whether or not you have various staff members who have very poor strength, low strength on the passwords, and you can go ahead and make stepping in and making sure that there's something that you can do, talking to them and saying, hey, this password needs to be stronger so you're not jeopardizing the system. You can also work with administrative roles. You can see here you have 5 different levels of administrative level of system roles. You have super admin, which is basically me right now in the system. I can do anything in the system. You have all privileges to be able to do everything. Group admins allow you to be able to manage groups of people. So if you've created groups of people under the group setting, you can go ahead and do that. You can create groups, and once you've created those groups, you can then manage people by the groups, and you can have group-level admins who can manage those groups. User management admin means that you can manage specific users. So you can have an admin who goes ahead and can create and delete users and then update particular users' information. Then help desk admin allows you to be able to take care of support issues for those users. So it gives you the ability to reset passwords and to be able to access user information, but that's pretty much it. So it's just sort of help desk level. And then services support, which manages the services and applications within Google Apps for Business, as opposed to handling anything regarding the users themselves. These are just regarding the services and applications. So you can go ahead and look at those various users and make changes and create new roles. You can also create a new role where there's a blended set of privileges for those. So you can see here under admins for super admin, you can see the privileges for that person is pretty much everything. You have these drop-down menus where you can see the various issues in the sub categories. If you created a new system role, you'd be able to check these and play with them. But basically, these are all by default under super admin checked because I have all rights to everything. So, so that's admin roles. Under appearance, you can of course go ahead and change this to put in your own custom logo. You can put in your own information and those types of things. So if I wanted to put in, let's just put in this funky QR code, and we can go ahead and upload that, and you can see that instead of the Google logo, we will then go ahead and have the custom logo now showing, as opposed to, whoops, maybe I didn't do that correctly. So what I've done now is I've told Google Docs, upload. Well, I'm having a little trouble here. Either way, the point is that you'd be able to upload a logo here, and you can use that custom image throughout all of the sites that you're using through Google Apps for Business. So instead up here of seeing this Google logo, you will now see your business logo up here. Okay. Then you can change colors for the sign-in box. Say you want it to be green. I would want it to be green for my business brand because it's green. And so then you'd have that there as well. And so you can change some of the minor header and sign-in colors and appearance issues. So that's under domain settings. Going under reports allows you to be able to see all sorts of really cool stuff. So you can see under the usage graphs, you can see all sorts of information visualized about how this particular instance of the software is being used. So you can see how many people are logged into the system, how many people are using particular areas of the software, and all that fun stuff. So it can be really cool. You have to go ahead and turn this on under the support area, under the settings area for usage graphs, but it's really cool. Here you can see an audit log, so you can see what's been done to the system. So if something has happened incorrectly, you can go ahead and fix that, but you can see who and what changed where. Okay, it tells you down to the IP address and the exact date and time in GMAT form. Okay, so you can see what's changed, a description of it, and so on and so forth. You can create additional reports that you have available to you. So you can see an accounts report, you can see activities, how much disk space is being used, so you can allot whether or not you need to increase space over time. So for instance, if you start to see yourself nearing the limit for your Google Drive, you can increase that limit by paying attention to the disk space report. You can see email clients report showing who has accessed the email system in the hosted account on a day-to-day basis, and then gives you the total number of accounts and the percentage of the users who have been using those accounts through the system. All sorts of other fun reports that you can play around in there as well. Jumping over to advanced tools, I'm not going to be able to get into this, but there are lots of really cool advanced tools, including open authorization, the OAuth domain key. You can go ahead and set up OAuth so people can use OAuth to log into various other websites. So people can log into other Google accounts and other Google products or other services using the OAuth key. That's this little option down here. There's some really fun, cool stuff that you can set up. You can set up Google Analytics. You can set up secure data connections, so you can go ahead and set up a secure data connection agent account and do that. You can set up APIs that access information. You can have all sorts of desktop features. You can make your calendar work with your Exchange calendar. You can restrict email delivery to certain places. And you can, of course, set up document ownership, so you can transfer ownership of various documents from one person to another. But those are all under the advanced tools. Under setup, you can go ahead and set up the Google Apps for Business. You can see that it tells you the express setup here takes about 30 minutes and handles most of the basic setup functions for you. Or you can go into the custom one, which is for more advanced stuff, and you can go ahead and do that. So once you go to setup, you can click on setup and follow the process. Under support, you have the various areas in which Google provides support to you. So you start out with online support, where you can go ahead and do some problem solving. You can see server status. So if we wanted to know the status of the Google Apps engines, we can look at the various issues. We can see whether Google Mail has had issues and see what the issues are if we click down into it. So we can see all of those various types of pieces of information just from checking it out. And what happened to my? There we go. So we can see support we can see the app status dashboard, we can see known issues, we can see all sorts of documentation, we can go to the forums to talk with other administrators, and we can go to the forums to talk to other developers, people who are working to develop on the Google Apps platform. And then we can go down and we can talk to email support. We can go ahead and use our customer support pin and customer pin to go ahead and email support. And then, of course, we have phone support here. And we have local and global phone support to be able to do that. If you end up having a much larger installment of Google Apps, this is for 100, 500, 1,000 users, those types of things, you can go ahead and talk to Google Apps about the deployment and account management on that particular level. Okay. Under settings, you have the settings for each of the individual service or applications that you've set up. So if you add services or add applications to the system, they'll show up under this listing, and then you have the individual options to be able to go ahead and change things. So if you click on calendar, you can go ahead and see the various options that are available for calendar. This is showing external sharing options, internal sharing options, and then allowing calendar labs to be able to allow users to use them. Now, calendar labs is basically Google allows 20% of all programmers' time to be able to do anything they want in terms of coding. They can code whatever their passion is about coding. They can code for that particular item. And so lots of different add-ons to the software are added through Google Calendar Labs. And so this is a testing ground for those things. However, they're not necessarily 100% safe according to Google, so you are basically putting yourself at risk of crashing Calendar potentially. Now you can always just go in and turn off the lab, that particular lab item experiment, and it will put Calendar back together. You won't have any loss of data, you won't have any issues like that, but you can try out the new cool stuff that Google is doing. Either way, you could turn this on and off based on this option. And you can do that throughout each of these various areas, both calendar, chat, the centralized contacts, where you can have all the contacts for your business in one place, Drive and Docs, Google's email, and managing all the email settings associated with the email. And of course, that's going to be the one with the most variation of options. You have Google Mobile, which allows people to access things on Android items as well as on Google Mobile items as well. So just Google Mobile web browsing items. Then Google Sites, it gives you the ability to allow users to create new sites, or whether or not they cannot create new sites. So it just depends on how large your organization is and so forth. You have general items, templates, which templates you can use and which ones you can't use, and then of course address mapping, so that you can map subdomains for a particular Google Apps installation. Google Video, these are the settings options for Google Video. You can of course change the URL for that particular Google Video for Business installation. You can put in recommended tags. You see that you have a 3 GB video quota to start out with, and then of course you can increase that over time. So you have lots of options in terms of those things. So that's pretty much the running setup of Google Apps for Business in terms of setting up the engine and just getting around the system. That's where everything else is. As you can see on the top right-hand corner, you have Help. And I'm just going to show you last before we start taking questions, which is to go to this area, which is the Google Apps for Business Apps Marketplace. Okay? So now by going to this Apps Marketplace, what we're doing is we're going over to the area where if there's something that Google doesn't have, there is probably an external party, someone on the outside who has developed something for Google Apps for Business for you, for your small business. So as you can see here, we have each of the various areas of a business. We have accounting and finance, admin tools, calendaring and scheduling, customer management, document management, productivity, project management, sales and marketing, security and compliance, and workflow. So if you have security issues, you can go ahead and review the various, these are the top installed items that allow you to be able to install into Google Apps for Business and helps you secure, audit, and back up your files, company data, and user information as it says. So you can go ahead and check out those products, see if it's something that you want. You can see these are reviewed and how many times they've been reviewed by users. So you can use the users that are in the system to be able to vet the products. And you can see the various items. So here you have several email marketing tools that are built to be imported directly into the Google Apps for Business engine. They have SurveyMonkey and MailChimp and Constant Contact, of course. And so you have various options throughout there. These are various professional services that are provided through external parties for the Google Apps for Business engine. So you have training and change management specialists, support and management services, small business implementation experts, and so on and so forth. And then you have enterprise search, which allows you to be able to go ahead and install these enterprise class search tools in your own data centers so that you're capable of getting information streamlined and accessed easily throughout the system. But either way, the primary area where you're going to look is actually under this products area, where all the various areas of your business might be that you might need assistance with. So if you need a customer management tool, there's probably a customer management tool in Google Apps for Businesses Apps Marketplace that will satisfy your needs that you can go ahead and check out and use within there. So I really, really recommend that if you're going to look at Google Apps for Business, you're going to study the Google Apps Marketplace and see what products are out there so that you can put together as many of those pieces of the puzzle so that you can run your entire business operations from the Google Apps for Business engine. There's no reason to pay the money for it if you, and it's a nominal fee. It's $50 per year, so per user. So it's a pretty inexpensive product. But the reality is why spend that first dollar if you don't have to? Now for solopreneurs, you can use the Google Apps for Business for free. Obviously, you can use the 30-day free trial, but you can use it for free without any, with the normal file size limits, as long as you are just yourself using the product. I believe that's still available. Although now that they've just changed this on me today, let's see to make sure that that's the case. But so you can go ahead and check out the Google Apps Marketplace and make sure that's available, because that the products that you need are available. So here it is. Yeah, the Google Apps for individuals and small teams. You have up to 10 users, and gives you 10 gigabytes of email storage space. And then, of course, it gives you the email, calendar, docs, and Google Sites tools all built into the Google Apps for Business. So you can use that for free. And then once you, of course, go over to the Google Apps for Business tool, then you go up to $5 per user per year, or $50 per user per year. I'm sorry, $5 per user per month, or $50 per user per year, and then you get all the rest of the products minus these particular items that are included within Vault. Okay, so so that's that. Tracy, do you want to do questions, and then we can wrap up?
Absolutely. So we've got a couple of questions that are standing about domain names. The first is, I have my domain, website, and email currently hosted by JustHost. Can I change it to Google? If so, how much does it cost per year?
So Google charges $10 per year, and you can transfer it over. And there's just a simple process under that area that was domains, domain settings. You would just go ahead and note in the domain settings that there's an option to transfer a domain to Google. You would select that option. Google will take you through a purchase process. You'll pay your $10, and then they'll go ahead and give you instructions to unlock your domain, so that your domain on your current registrar's site allows you to be able to go ahead and transfer that domain to Google. And at that point, Google manages the domain, it manages the Google Apps for Business engine, and you're good to go.
Okay. The other question is, if I currently have a domain name and a site up already, does Google Sites walk me through the process transfer over? Yeah, okay. Or can Google Apps work on the back end of my current site? So we talked about the transfer, but...
Right. So Google Apps for Business will not act as a back-end engine for a current website that you have hosted somewhere else. If you want to keep that site hosted somewhere else, that's completely fine, but it won't act as a back-end administrative function. The way in which you transfer it is manual, because it's not going to. You're going to have to copy and paste the content over into the Google Sites installation. So Google Sites as the service, you'll just have to copy the text over, and then you're working in the Google Sites system, which of course requires no HTML or web programming understanding. You just go ahead and put in the content that you need. So there's none of that. As far as help with regard to transferring it over, there is a very, very robust user support help forum. So where I went under support, that support tab within the control panel, if you click on that support, click on the sites link under that area of the services, and the sites link will take you to a whole host of users who've gone through exactly your issue and countless others. So whatever your issue is, there is a Google Sites user out there who has dealt with it. So go out there, click on that particular service within the support area, and you'll find they'll give you all the advice and counsel you need.
All right. Well, we don't have any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you all for participating today. A few housekeeping items. Today's webinar will be was recorded, and it'll be posted on the Virginia SBDC website in about a week. Tomorrow you'll be receiving a follow-up email on this webinar, and there's going to be an evaluation link in that email. Please help us to continue to improve our training by taking the time to complete the evaluation. I also put a link to that evaluation in the chat fields, so if you wanted to, you could go ahead and complete that evaluation now. If you're interested in expanding your digital presence, please contact your local SBDC to schedule one-on-one counseling with Ray Sidney Smith. Our next webinar is on June 21st. It's Overloaded Inbox. Google has a solution for you, Gmail. Well, thank you all for attending today. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.